filled with action and delight. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
I love racing cars, chasing gales, and lighting on fire. That's why they call me the Human Torch. Freedom!
This is Jack, and this Fantastic Four report is our Christmas special. This is a Marvel 2-in-1 number 8, The Thing and Ghost Rider, Silent Night, Deadly Night. So to help me with this, we've got Shades.
Greetings, good people.
And Ryan. The thing about this, the 2-in-1 series came about because of the popularity of The Thing. The Human Torch was supposed to be the breakout character, and he got Strange Tales. Well, it turned out Thing was more popular, so in the 1970s, Ben Grimm got his own team-up title, 2-in-1. This was a way for Marvel to keep copyrights alive and introduce new characters. If you had a character who hadn't been seen in a long time, they could appear with Thing or pop over into Marvel Team-Up and appear with Spider-Man, and you had two of Marvel's popular characters with sometimes less popular.
Really?
You've got Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider was extremely new. A way to introduce Ghost Rider to people who had never seen him was to team him up with a more popular character, in this case, The Thing.
Ghost Rider I thought was really cool. I was young, and I think when you're young you want respect and fear. But my two favorite characters when I was young was Ghost Rider and Darth Vader. They had unwavering respect. I just wanted to toss that in. Ghost Rider, respected.
The villain of this piece was Miracle Man. He had superpowers this time. Now, he had got those earlier in the Fantastic Four issue in the 130s. This was the follow-up to that. Thing ended up dealing with him and his miraculous powers after he recreates the Christmas story, trying to strive for godhood. I utterly loved the insanity of this plot.
I did not.
Thing and Ghost Rider dealing with this whole nuts idea that Miracle Man had, that he could be a god if he created his own Jesus. I thought it was just too much fun. I did like the way it resolved, and I love the artwork on it.
One thing I thought was a little telling, almost sad, I think you could say sad, is that how non-controversial Christmas was back then. You can openly have Christmas, you can have a manger, you can have a Christ child, and it just wasn't as problematic as it is now. Now it's like, oh, it's such a hot button, issue. How dare you, talk about Christianity and all that stuff. So it's just kind of sad. And we're going back to 1974. So to me, it just seems kind of a shame that there was a time in the world where Christianity and Christmas was just not super controversial as it is now.
The first time Thing teamed up with the Ghost Rider, I totally liked the idea, the two conflicting styles. Steve Gerber's run on Marvel 2-in-1 is my favorite run on Marvel 2-in-1. As far as story goes, artwork, it would be George Perez. My favorite part of this story is when Thing is trying to get Reed to hang out with his family, but Reed is just obsessed with this star. Reed says, "Christmas Eve, the new star in the heavens. Doesn't that ring any bells with you?" And Ben goes, "Yeah, it reminds me that 2,000 years ago a kid was born who'd want you to spend tonight with your family."
Classic. That is good. Classic Ben Grimm.
That is definitely. So I got a big thumbs up on this issue. That's my initial thoughts. What do you think, Shades?
Okay, I didn't love the episode. I don't know if I'm not in a good Christmassy mood or what, but I don't know. The whole thing was just kind of, it seemed kind of contrived to me. You had to get some guy and his wacky idea. Now, granted, he is insane, but he says, I'm going to rule the world by recreating the Christ child virgin birth, except I'm going to be the master of the Christ child, and through him, I'm going to somehow rule the... I think there's just an easier way, even for a lunatic to go, to rule the world. As a Christian man myself, I do appreciate the whole Christmas thing. I mean, because there was a star over Bethlehem. There were wise men, maybe not 3, but there were wise men. So I appreciate that. I just think, I don't know, it just seemed kind of thrown together. Miracle Man is still not one of my most beloved villains. Sal Buscema is a good artist, not one of my all-time favorites. Ghost Rider, I like the Ghost Rider. I prefer it when he has his flame cycle. It's a power he discovers, I guess, later, or maybe it's just, it saves him energy to have a physical motorcycle. Ghost Rider before his personality split. I liked him when he was just Johnny Blaze, who could turn into a flaming skull. He changed a little, I liked a little, but when it became a separate personality, it's a whole nother conversation about Ghost Rider. But this episode, I thought was okay.
So we're going to throw this to Ryan and get his initial thoughts.
I actually thought the story was interesting, although it was a little odd for a Christmas story. The correlations to, I guess you could say Jesus and his whole story, and Miracle Man creating his own, I guess you could say his own Jesus. Yeah, it was, it was an odd one nonetheless, but I did enjoy it. The art came completely new to me because I'm pretty sure this is farther along, right? This is farther along, so the art does look very, very much better. The new Ben is, or the new thing, Ben Grimm, is much more fleshed out. You can see his sort of rocky texture and, just, he looks nicer. Ghost Rider and Thing, actually, I didn't know they had worked together as they have, but it worked out, honestly. I thought it was pretty cool. They didn't get to show off their abilities together too much. They were more sort of individual, but nonetheless, I thought it was pretty cool. I wanted to see more of Ghost Rider and more explanation for him. Miracle Man got a whole new change and a whole new update, I guess you could say, with his new outfit, new powers, new reasoning to want to take over the world this time. I do agree, Jack. This what's it called? This is somewhat of a whole new kind of story, a silly story, but it's really good. You see how Miracle Man, instead of being just sort of illusions and tricks, mind tricks, how he has newfound powers and abilities, and he uses those, although he doesn't use them well enough because he still gets defeated. Lasers from his hands. Yeah, his powers now compared to how they were before are, I'd say they're much better. I like them now, especially because, instead of just doing illusions and mind tricks, he can actually kind of compete with these people who have superpowers. He's going to be a much more formidable opponent. My last thoughts here, the story itself was, it was very, I just thought the story was linear, it was straightforward, to the point, and it made sense. So, overall, I give the villain a 8 out of 10, because I do like his new upgrades, his new updates, and his changes. I will give the story a solid, 6, because 6 to 7. It was a good story, but it was very silly. It was out of, left field. It wasn't something I was expecting to see. And, Shades, Jack, let me get this one by myself. Be fantastic.